Welcome to the My Creative Days podcast, where we will talk about all things DIY, home decor, decorating tips, and creating a beautiful home on a budget. I am hoping our time together will spark a creative idea, help you plan your next DIY, or inspire you to finally tackle that project you keep putting off. Grab your favorite cup of motivation and let's chat. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. I thought today, I don't have any notes for today's podcast. I'm just going to kind of talk about our experience and answer a question that I get from time to time. And I just received it this week, so I thought that I would do a podcast episode on it. The question is, how did we start flipping houses? So for some of you that may not know, Matt and I have flipped, I want to say 6 properties now on our own. And they're not easy to find, and that's a whole nother podcast episode that I can go into, finding flip houses and all those kinds of things. But they're not easy to find, so it's not something we do full time. We both do work full time, Matt out of the house and me doing this and my website and all the things. But if we find one, we take it on. So as a side project. So I've shared many of the makeovers and the houses we have done inside my blog, so you can check it out at mycreativedays.com. But I thought today I'd kind of answer and kind of just go through our story and how it kind of came about. And so rewind many years, many years ago, and I've said it here before, and a lot of people already know this, Matt did not know how to swing a hammer. He did not know how to use tools. He was not a DIYer at all when I met him. And so anything we wanted to do was with my dad. And my dad has always been in construction. I remember growing up and going to houses that he was either building or working on. My sister and I, we would get to eat lunch in his truck. Or I just remember those days, spending summers doing that with my dad. So anything we needed help with, we leaned on him. And we learned so much from my dad over the years. And he has also flipped homes in the past. And then when it got to a point where we wanted to start learning how to flip and like what goes into it, and anytime my dad had a flip house, we were the ones there working on it. So any of the smaller projects that we could do, obviously paint or cleaning, demo, anything like that, we would do. And then dad would teach us how to do, some of the other things, and obviously hire some things out that you can't do. But so we were kind of like my dad's, right hand helpers, through his end of his flipping career. So that's kind of how it started. And at that point, and as we were doing it, it was just extra money for us. Like we were just, we liked the work. We liked the process of taking something that wasn't so pretty and wasn't so good and turning it into a great home for somebody to bring their family in. And a lot of the times the flip houses we found were either they were rentals or they were vacant. So they just weren't in good condition. But just the whole process of making it pretty again, Matt and I loved. And so for years, that's all we did. We just helped my dad. And my dad didn't have them consistently, so it wasn't all the time. But anytime he would get one, Matt and I would definitely be on board to help him work through them. And then it kind of got to the point where my dad couldn't do much anymore as he used to. And he kind of stopped looking for flip houses, and he just kind of backed away. And Matt and I had set some pretty... I shouldn't say Matt and I set some pretty big goals for us, just financial goals and just some other goals in our family and all these kinds of things. And when I was doing that, Matt's like, there's just no way. Are you kidding? And but at that same point when we were doing that and I was talking about all that, I just said, why can't we do it on our own? Why can't we just flip houses on our own? I want to start looking for flip houses. And so Matt is he was fine with it. We kind of knew the work. We knew the process. We kind of knew some people, that we had worked with my dad. And so we jumped in with both feet. I started working or looking for flip houses all the time. I was looking for flip houses, reaching out to people. And I found our first flip house. It was a couple of streets over from where we live, and we got it. We got our first flip house. And so this was the first one that we were doing without my dad. Now, not meaning he was obviously there. He was helping us with some of the things, the little questions that we had, if something came up and we had to, what should we do here? He was obviously on board for all of that, but it was actually one that it was our name on the house. It wasn't my dad's. And we weren't there as kind of the hired help. It was definitely it was ours, our own. So that's how we kind of got into flipping. And then since then, we have had more properties. We got a duplex, a rental, which needed to be totally updated. The top apartment had to be updated. And then we had a long-term renter in the bottom, which he moved out kind of towards he stayed there many years. And then when he moved out, we redid his entire apartment, moved somebody in for, I think it was like 6 months or 8 months in the top and bottom apartment. And we got a call from a coffee shop that they would like to buy the duplex and the kind of the land around it and put up a coffee shop. So that was not our plan when we got the duplex, but it worked out in our favor. And so we had to, it was just too good of an offer to walk away from. So, but that was another, it's one of our properties that we say flipped because it needed work from top to bottom, but it was a rental income that we were planning on keeping for years and years. But then this opportunity came about and we couldn't say no to it. So we have flipped 5 houses. And then that would be the 6th, if I've got my numbers right. It's been so many years of doing it, so I'm not for sure if it's around that number. Like I said, Matt, not so much, but I am always reaching out to people looking for flip houses. It is something we would love to do more often. It is something, Matt, we would both. It would just be, if we could find them, they're not that easy to find at all. You obviously need to find, one that needs some work. You can get it at the right price. And then, whatever your budget is to put into it and then make a little bit of profit on the other end. Obviously, that's the goal. So just finding all of that and having all of those kind of things just fall into place. It's harder than you think. I know there are many TV shows, HGTV, make it look just so easy and so glamorous. And it's definitely not like that. I wish it was. But yeah, so that's how we got into flipping houses. It is something we both love. It is something we will continue to do. If I could get one tomorrow, I would. If we could get 3 tomorrow, we would do that as well. So if it's something you've been thinking about, I would love to hear from you. I have answered, and usually every flip house we have ever gotten, I share the entire process, the walkthroughs, the projects we're working on, everything on my Facebook and Instagram and YouTube channel, just to kind of, it's so fun to be able to take people through the entire process from closing or buying it and actually getting the keys to the closing, selling it, and actually giving somebody else the keys. It's one of my favorite things to share across my channels. And that's why I just wish we could find more of them and do more of them. And I know there are still more out there that we will do, but, it's a fun process. And I know a lot of people, when we are in a flip, I get a lot of questions from people asking about how do you get into this? And this is something I really think I would like to do. What does it all entail? And if you're interested in that, that's a totally different podcast. And I could definitely kind of talk about our journey there, but it's not for, it's when people say, how do you have time to do it? It's nights and weekends. So Matt and I kind of figure when we are buying a flip house, we know you kind of, obviously you walk through the flip house and you know what work it needs and how long that work's going to take you. The more you do, obviously, the better you get at that assumption or that, of how long it'll take, how much money it'll take, those kinds of things. And so we've when we set out, when we get a flip house, we know usually my time frame is 3 to 4 months to get a flip house done. Matt and my family are always like, you are crazy. There is no way you're getting this done. And I am here to tell you that every flip house or project we've had, we have gotten done in that time frame. So, but we just know for that 3 to 4 months or however long it's going to take us, that is going to be our life. Our kids are on board. They love to work at the flip when we have a flip project because they get paid to do work. They're kind of where we were when Matt and I started helping my dad. So it's kind of fun. It's also fun to take them through the process so they can see how it all works. Because it's definitely something I hope they get into when they get older. But we just know that 3 to 4 months, that flip house is going to be our life. It's going to be our main focus beyond our family and our kids' schedules. So if our kids have school functions or extra, a game or practices, and this is before, when one of them couldn't drive and all of that, we had to get them to and from that. Obviously that's our first priority. But after that, we just know any empty nights or weekends, that is where we will be so that we can reach our goal of getting it done. Because with flipping, it depends on how you buy it. So if you have a mortgage on it, there's interest. Even if you pay cash for it, you're still paying for taxes and insurance and lights and electric and gas and water, and all of those things are still bills, and that's coming out of your profit. So we know we don't want to be hanging on to it for too long, and in order to do that, with us both working full time in other jobs, our nights and weekends will be staying at the flip, working on the flip house. So sorry, my phone just went off. And so we just know that for that 3 to 4 months when things it's going to be a little hectic, and it is tiring, and it's a lot of work. And, but at the end, when you sell it, the profit's worth it. So I always tell people, you have to decide if giving up 3 months of, nights and weekends and fun and all of that are, what's that profit going to have to look like for you? Or, so that's, again, another talk for a different podcast, but it's just, we know in the end, giving up 3 to 4 months of, not giving up, I shouldn't say that. We just know that 3 to 4 months of hard work, putting in nights and weekends is definitely going to be worth it in the end. And so, we just kind of all know, even like I said, the kids, they kind of know they're waiting for us to find another one right now, but they just kind of know, okay, we close on the flip house here. They know that, that day that we close, we are over there and we start we start cleaning up the place, and we get a dumpster delivered to the house that day. So they know that they're on board and they're working too. And like I said, it's their stuff and their schedules kind of come first. But other than that, they just kind of know that, that's where they'll be working until we get it done. So it's definitely become a family affair, and something that we really, all 4 of us, really look forward to. The kids will, halfway through, they're like, we've got to go over there again, or there are many times when they're not with us, or they stay home or they go doing whatever because there's nothing that they can do at that point, or it's stuff that Matt and I have to do. But it's definitely been an adventure. I'm so excited that we decided to jump in with both feet, because we've learned so much through the process, and it's just been so much fun. There's a lot of heartache. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in flipping. And, we've both had, Matt and I have both had our ups and downs with different flip houses. You fall in love with the house, no matter the size, no matter the work. You literally, every time you're in there, whenever I'm in there, I can picture, when I'm working on the rooms, painting the rooms, I picture, a young family with maybe 1 kid or 2 kids. Like, I can see how the family that's going to move into it, how they will live in it, what each room will be used as, what each space, I could see, what I would put in there. It's really, I've never done anything like it. And yeah, like I said, it's something that we will continue to do, and I hope to do it soon here, sooner than later. So that's how we have got into flipping houses. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'd love to answer them. If you would like me to go, more in depth about flipping, or like if there's a certain aspect about it you would like me to talk about, I would be happy to do that as well. I do know everybody's flipping, adventure or journey will look different, but I can, I am here to help you and kind of tell you what has worked or not worked for us, or, how we've done something or not done something. So, definitely reach out if there's something that I can help you with. But yeah, that's how we started flipping. We will continue to do it. It's something we love. So yeah. Okay, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you again next time. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I am grateful that you tune in every week and that you share the show with your family and friends. I love having creative chit chats with you, and my hope is that this podcast will inspire you to try a new project, start a DIY that you've been putting off, and decorate your home exactly how you want it. There are a few ways you can help us with the podcast. Follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode. And if you could take a few minutes to leave the podcast a review, that would help us so much. Again, thank you for being here, and I look forward to our chat next week.